I see stiff competition with China. China has an overall goal, and I don't criticize them for the goal, but they have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world. That's not going to happen on my watch, because the United States is going to continue to grow and expand.
Do you trust him? That was Joe Biden at his very first press conference back on March 25th, saying that he wouldn't let China become the overall wealthiest, powerful, and leading country in the world during his occupation of the Oval Office. But China has been playing Biden like a fiddle ever since. Joining me now to weigh in on all of this is the author of The Coming Collapse of China and the Great U.S. China Tech War, Gordon Chang. Mr. Chang, it is always wonderful to see you here on the Chris Salcedo Show and to get your expertise on this stuff. Latest entanglement between both the United States and China was the U.S. bowing down to China's demand not to boycott next year's Olympics in Beijing. It's obvious that China wants America's prestige to legitimize their murderous regime. Why is Biden so eager to give it, and why is legitimizing evil so dangerous?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. You know, I don't understand the Biden administration's approach to the Olympics. They were once saying that they would talk about a boycott. Now, you know, in their public comments, they say, no, they haven't talked to allies at all, not considering it. And we got to remember, as you point out, that Beijing is committing genocide, crimes against humanity, mass rape, mass internment. They're killing Uyghurs. This just runs the gamut of the worst behaviors in the world. We can't participate in those Olympics. That would just be horrific on our part. Yeah,
recently, Biden revealed that he spoke with President Xi on the virus, and the world was supposed to listen and watch on what these two would talk about. Listen to his take on this, and I want to get your reaction. Okay, I guess we don't have that. Okay, guys, thanks very much. All right. Well, a new piece that you wrote for Newsmax, you discuss how the world is in no way safe in John Kerry's hands. I think you put it, having a diplomatic passport in John Kerry's hands, not good. Why?
Yes, because John Kerry has a view of China and a view of other issues that is just inimical to the national security interests of the United States. He thinks that he can cooperate with China on climate, and he believes that climate is so important that it overrides national security concerns. Now, since that news broke in the Washington Post, I think, Kerry has been saying, no, it's a standalone issue. But the Chinese have been saying that this is not a standalone issue. The United States, Beijing says, cannot cooperate with China on climate and end up opposing China on its other initiatives. They say it has to be cooperation across the board. Kerry is just not listening to what Beijing is saying, and we've got to be concerned that he will give away important concessions and get very little in return, and indeed help Beijing and injure the United States. So that's why I said that the Republic is not safe when John Kerry is carrying our diplomatic passport.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This man has really no love for the United States. And you saw what he did in the Obama-Iranian Mullah nuke deal. He gave away the store there to the Iranians. And nobody should have any confidence whatsoever that he won't do the same against the United States in favor of communist China. China's also working on silencing the protesters in Hong Kong, and they have their eye on Taiwan. What's the latest information you have on both of those areas?
Well, at this very moment, China's first aircraft carrier is on the east side of Taiwan with its support ships, and there have been almost daily incursions by Chinese aircraft into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. We're hearing people in Beijing saying that China must annex Taiwan within 5 years. So this is going in a very dangerous path. And by the way, Chris, we have the Russians massing on the Ukraine border. So we have crises on both ends of Asia. And that means we could be having simultaneous crises and indeed maybe global conflict.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is coordinated. I have no doubt in my mind. As you know, the Russians and the Chinese have been coordinating their efforts to overwhelm a really rudderless Biden administration. Now, on China's military, they're reportedly showing a 7% increase in their military spending for next year. Republicans are blasting Joe Biden after he requested a paltry $753 billion as part of the 2022 budget for America's military. Now, we've seen this pattern before. Obama sought to turn over control of the Middle East to terrorists in Iran. Now Biden seems to want to surrender the Pacific to China. Tell the folks why this would be a disaster for their families and basically freedom lovers anywhere if Biden succeeds in delivering the Pacific to China.
Yeah. Since the late 19th century, we Americans have drawn our Western defense perimeter off the coast of East Asia, and Taiwan is in the center of that critical line. But there's something even more important than a strategic location. One thing here is that Beijing has been attacking democracies and our democracy, and we cannot allow them to absorb any democracy, the one as important as Taiwan. When President Obama failed to enforce his red line in Syria in 2013, we felt the repercussions in East Asia, specifically in South Korea and Japan, because they were afraid that we were not going to defend them. If we don't defend Taiwan, we will feel repercussions around the world, and we will no longer be able to defend ourselves far from our borders. We're going to have to do it on our own shores. That's why Taiwan is so important. That's why it's critical. It's critical in Beijing's mind. It's got to be critical in ours.
Well, let me just ask a real quick yes or no answer. Mr. Chang, do you believe if Taiwan is attacked by China that Biden, the United States under Biden, will defend Taiwan?
I don't know, Chris. I really don't know. But I'm very concerned that we won't.
Yep, we used to be able to answer that with a definitive yes, but not anymore.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.